Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. And if you heard the giggles from the two gentlemen beside me, it's because I did the smart thing of waiting to hit the record button. So, to those at home who are looking to start their own recordings and podcasts, make sure that you're a little careful with who you decide to jump on the mic with. Now, today, boys, it is week 27, and we have an interesting episode this week because we're recording on a Monday. And that was never supposed to happen, but season tickets to Mamba's games and a Mamba's game happening on a Tuesday, I guess will do that to us.
Yep.
Speaking of the Mambas, let's get right into it. Mambas played 2 games this past week. We won 1, lost 1. So, 500 on the week.
Can't really be mad about that.
June
Especially to who we lost.
Yeah, exactly. June 30th, we lose 107-96 to the Winnipeg Sea Bears, who are like top of the league with the Scarborough Shooting Stars. Tavian Jones, 24 points and 6 rebounds.
He's been on a tear.
Again, like he's averaging like mid-20s the past probably, 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Tavian Dunn-Martin, our captain, 16 points, 11 assists.
He's been pretty good on the assists too lately.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be close to 8 or 9 average.
Well, I mean, at 5'9", like scoring's going to be tough. He's a good 3-point shooter as is, but like he's finding some guys. And you and me, we've been at a game. We've seen the kind of passes he's able to make, even at that size.
Well, even then, we've seen like just the times he's able to squeak between 2 guys because they just can't get down the ball.
I mean, when you're that little, you just find the small space and make the most of it. So he's doing what he can. Jameer Chaplin, which is a name that's been coming up a little bit more frequently in the past couple games, he puts up 16 points and 2 assists. So solid effort from the Mamba.
Sure it's 2 assists or 2 steals?
Oh, it's 2 steals. Yes, I'm looking at my notes a little incorrectly. And 2 steals is way more impressive than 2 assists. When it's that few in the digits. Now, Winnipeg were the ones to set the target score at 107 when they were leading 98-86. So when the target score was set, they were up by 12. When they hit the target score, they were up by 11.
Ooh, we made up 1.
Yeah, we made up 1 point. So target score time was not the issue. It was just we kind of dug ourselves a hole leading up to it. Emmanuel Acott made the winning free throws. Oh, yeah. So this was one of the games where the target score really came into play, as any basket wins, and free throws were the name of the game on this one. July 3rd, we played the Calgary Surge. This was a must-win because the Surge are at the bottom of the league.
Are they like 1-12?
They are 1-13
yeah.
going into this week. And one of those 13 losses was to the Mamba this past week. Now, it was much closer than I ever would have liked to be with how much the Surge are struggling. The Mamba win 96-92. Jameer Chaplin with 26 points and 9 rebounds. So again, he keeps coming up. Tavian Jones, 17 points. So a bit more of a humble scoring output from him on that day. And Jalen Williams with 15 points and 7 rebounds. The Mamba set the target score at 96 when it was 87-83. So it was close when target score was set. Yeah. And both teams scored the same amount of points in target score time.
Yeah.
And it was Jamal Fuller who made the game-winning 2-pointer. Now, this game was a bit of a special occasion for CEBL and professional basketball in Canada, because this game between the Mamba and Surge was actually held in Whitehorse, Yukon, which is the first professional basketball game to be played in the territories. So it was really nice that we're getting some professional ball up there in the north, and Mamba come out with a victory on it. Their next game, they only have 1 game this coming week, July 7th, which is tomorrow, which is the game that me and you, Miggy, that we're going to, and they're up against the Vancouver Bandits, who are kind of not at the top of the standings, but sort of like just outside the top.
They're top of the middle of the pack.
Top of the middle of the pack. Now, tomorrow's game is the Mamba's last game until July 15th. So they got a whole week off. And that game will be against the Winnipeg Sea Bears.
So I hope that the coach keeps them warm. I don't want my players too cold.
Well, it's summertime in Canada, so I expect beach day practice sessions. That's what I do. That is what I do. Now, moving over to another one of our hometown teams, the Berries. They had a underwhelming week for the Berries. They had 6 games, and One was rescheduled and delayed due to rain.
Do we have a date on it yet?
A date hasn't been announced yet. Usually they wait about a week and a half before announcing the date, and then the date is
just so
usually
they can make sure with the schedule and
yeah.
everything.
Now,
Okay.
one of the 6 games, or I guess 2 of the 6 games from this past week, were a little weird because the Berries played 2 games on the same day, one of which was a makeup game. So somehow the league managed to schedule it such that one of the makeup games was on the same day as another game, so they just kind of had a back to back on the same day. Now, of the 5 games that were played, the Berries went 2-3. So underwhelming week for them. June 30th, they beat the Brooks Bombers 13-12. July 1st, they lose to the Brooks Bombers 7-5. July 2nd was the canceled game. July 3rd was the doubleheader day. They had 2 games against the Moose Jaw Miller Express. The first game, they lose 7-6. That was the game that was rescheduled from June 17th. Then the second game, they win 11-9. And on July 4th, they had another game against Moose Jaw, and they lose that 12-4. So a back to back to back. And they come out of it 1-2. So tough week for the Berries, but they've got a very busy week coming up. They had a game yesterday, although when I looked at the website, there was no score posted yet. It was at Swift Current. So I'm not sure if that game got canceled as well, or if they're just slow on updating that score. Actually, I'll have Miggy take a look at the website now as I give you guys the rest of the schedule. So July 6th, so that's today, they're against Regina. Tomorrow and Thursday, they're against the Okotoks. July 10th, so they have July 9th off. July 10th, they're in Swift Current. July 11th, they're back here against Swift Current. And then July 12th, against Swift Current again. So another back to back to back. Now, our last sort of hometown team for this time of the year is the Blades. Blades are currently in their off season, but we did get news about when their season opener is going to be. It is going to be September 25th against the Raiders, so a bit of a rematch, and it is going to be at home here in Saskatoon. So after a little bit of research and looking at the website again, turns out that the game on July 5th for the Saskatoon Berries against the Swift Current 57s was an 18-3 win.
13.
18-13. Sorry, I
you got a little too hyped.
I got a little too hyped, okay? I missed the number. Been doing that a lot lately. But an 18-13 banger that's a lot of runs. So I don't know if it was pitching issues or fielding issues or just that the bats were extremely hot. But an 18-13 victory is still a victory in my books.
Yeah, it's a very strong victory.
Yeah, it's a statement, that's for sure. Now, with that being said, that's all we got for our hometown heroes.
Or is it?
Or is it? Does Miggy have something more?
I have a little bit for the Blades, and by a little bit, a singular piece of information.
If you're talking about the home opener,
yes,
I already stated that. Were you not listening, sir?
No, I was looking up your information.
Actually, you've got a point there. I do apologize. I did have you look that up. No, so
Yeah, he already got it.
Yeah.
Well, to rewind what Chris said, just so I feel special, the season opener for the Mambas is September 20.
The Mambas
for the Blades is September 25th on a Saturday against the Raiders.
On a Saturday is the specific part that Miggy was complaining about earlier.
I was not complaining.
He was excited about it.
No. What I'm saying, like the Saturday part you're excited about. No, you're complaining about a different team only having games on Fridays and Sundays.
Yeah,
which we'll get to in a little bit.
Now, to move away from our hometown heroes, but to continue on the hockey aspect, the PWHL is slowing down for signing players and everything due to the fact that there is a new 19-player roster constraint in the offseason. Now, once the season starts back up, it'll go back to the normal 23 roster. So I think they're only doing this just for the expansion. Just so not all the skills or whatever is it going to one team. Mm-hmm. Like you go to 19 and then after that you can trade or sign or whatever for.
So is that 19 limit for the entire offseason, and then like day one of games they
They
can
go back to 23 once the season starts.
That's a little weird to me because that means that you'll have a 19 woman roster
Yeah.
until game day, and then you have to like
Or
find
until
four
the
people
season starts.
or like
yeah.
find 4 people to sign.
Yeah.
A little odd,
No,
but I understand the
knowing
implication.
how sports work, they'll probably have the 4 people in their
Mhm.
back pocket.
Well,
just
yeah,
waiting.
Yeah.
they'll have them just on a postponed contract.
Yeah, it'll always be unofficial.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, for the big ends. So, before we start this, actually, me and Chris have been like, look, everything's dying down. Maybe we'll go back to 1 episode. No, that's not happening.
We looked at ourselves in the mirrors and lied.
No bueno,
No bueno.
as the Mexicans would say.
Yeah, no, very not good. Ce n'est pas bon.
No. So, I'm going to go per team on the signings, and then I'll go over the trades that happened in the last week. July 1st had a total of 153 signings. Now, a lot of these were signing up, again, theater teams, contracts, little deals, smaller players. So I'm going to go with the bigger players that are important to the team structure as is, in my opinion. Now, Anaheim Ducks is going to be a scary team.
It's usually
They
are the Mighty Ducks mighty again?
Yeah. They signed left winger AJ Greer after they traded for him for 4 years, 17 mil. That's complete, not 17 mil per year.
I was about to say 17 mil a year is a crazy contract.
Yeah.
But 4 years, 17 mil. So what is that? A little bit more than 4 mil a year. It's not bad.
4.25.
Yeah.
Nick Jensen, the defenseman, got signed 2 years for 4.5 every year.
Okay.
Then you have they signed Pavel Mintyukov, which is their young defenseman, for a 5-year average of 7.2 mil a year contract. So that is really good for them. Boston, they signed a lot of little players that they're going to give a try and see. But the 2 players that they signed that I think will do well is defenseman Jordan Harris. Now, Montreal used to have him. They signed him for a 1-year, $850K contract. And defenseman Connor Clifton, that used to play for Buffalo but got traded to the Boston last year in the deadline, they signed him for a 2-year average of 4.5 mil. Buffalo Sabres, like they weren't scary enough, they added, after trading for defenseman Olin Zellweger, they added him for 3 years, 9.3 total, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll get Chris to check that real quick. Now, Calgary Flames did add a couple of young guys. They'll be able to look out to see if they develop 3 defensemen in the center. Carolina Hurricanes didn't sign a single person.
Well, I mean, you won a championship. You might as well not
Not a
mess-
single one.
not mess with what's working.
Oh, I'm telling you, they are going to have something.
Oh, they're gonna have to. Speaking of Zellweger, it is 9.3 total.
9.3 total?
Yes, so it'd be
Okay.
3.1 per year.
Okay. That's actually pretty good. Now, I have just seen in my notes that I have done average total, average total, average total, average total. So,
You're making this real hard for yourself
Yeah.
here, bud.
yeah. So, Chicago has a very interesting signing. They have now the most expensive defenseman in Bowen Byram for 6 years, 75 mil. That guy has not had a point per game season or even close since he got injured.
15 mil a year on
No,
average.
12.5.
Is that 12.5?
Just 12.5.
Is that not 15? Oh, it is 12.5. Yes, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's still, that's insane.
That's a lot of faith in a young defenseman that still has not proved himself to be in that caliber.
Goodness, no.
Now, if he shows up in Chicago and does what Chicago thinks they're going to do, then Chicago just hit a sweet spot.
Mm.
Carl,
That is still expensive, though,
Now-
for one player.
as much as Colorado Avalanche was kind of disappointing how they ended up with Vegas kind of just ragdolling them in that Western Conference final, they have added Saskatchewan player Jaden Schwartz to a 3-year, $9.75 total $1 million contract.
Good on him.
So
Good on him.
represent the boys.
Saskatchewan boy going straight to a contender.
Yeah, exactly. Columbus Blue Jackets. I will have to give a little toot to a goalie. Phoenix Copley, and you have heard of him. Copley, sorry.
Couple, yep.
You have heard of him. I've heard you say good things about him. He was in LA. He got shipped around a little bit. They have signed him for a 1-year, $850K contract. Now, do I personally feel like that's a steal? Yes, he has shown greatness before. He just struggles with the workload a little.
Yeah. I mean, 1 year, what is that? 850,000?
Yeah.
That's such a low risk financial decision of a contract.
Yeah.
I mean, you sign him, you play him for the games that you can. He either plays great and you've just got an absolute steal and you can re-sign him later potentially, or you barely lose anything if he, doesn't perform.
Yeah. Now, Dallas, I'm only mentioning this because it's a weird number, but Artem Schlein signed for 1 year, $952K.
Couldn't have just given the guy a mil?
Apparently not. Detroit. Huh? Oh, and Dallas also did sign Jamie Benn again
Okay.
for a 1 year, $850K contract.
Is $850K the minimum?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is funny because a rookie contract is $900K.
Yeah, well, 850 would be sort of like the NBA's equivalent of like a veteran's minimum.
Yeah, but you can give that to anybody.
I suppose, yeah.
So, Detroit added Victor Arvidsson for 2 years and a total of 10 mil. And let me tell you, if Larkin stayed, that would have been scary to have Arvidsson, Raymond, and Larkin on the same line.
Mm-hmm.
But Larkin's a little crybaby, and he wants to get traded. Now, Edmonton Oilers, after getting rid of Darnell Nurse, which I will talk to about more in the trade, signed Ray Shea for 5 years, $20 million, for a collective of 4 average value. He's a big boy. He hits hard. He has the puck skills. He is what people thought Nurse would be, in my opinion. And they added Frederick Anderson as goalie for 1 year, $1 million, and a bunch of bonuses. So, like cup-winning Frederick.
Like cup-winning Frederick Anderson.
Yep, is going to Edmonton Oilers.
Interesting. That is an interesting decision.
Now, the bad boys of Florida.
You mean the team that's going to only be able to put half their roster on the ice at a time?
Yeah. Here are the 3 guys I'm going to mention. Luosterainen signing 8 years for $40 million is a steal. Ratko Gudas, retire. He's going to be a grandfather with Brad Marchand on this team. He signed a 6-year total of $9 million. So he's going to be valued at 1.5 every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sam Lafferty. He played with Buffalo. This kid, in my opinion, has been undervalued and underappreciated. He will not have a place to shine in Florida due to how top-heavy this team is, which is unfortunate, but they only signed him for 1 year, $850K. So maybe he'll do just enough for another team to be like, look, I want to give you a shot. LA signs Matt Zuccarello, Corey Perry, Scott Lofton, Scott Perunovich, Eric Gustafson, and Eric Holla. How? I don't know. But that team just got scary too. And Perry needs to retire because he's getting old too. And it showed time and time again he's not getting his second cup.
No.
Minnesota Wild did sign Bobby Brink for a 1 year, $2.75 million, as well as goalie Calvin Pickard that was with Edmonton for a 1 year, $1 million contract. Now they also signed Nick Foligno again for a 1 year, $900K contract, as well as defenseman Zach Bogosian for 1 year, $1.25 million contract.
That is a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah. Now, Montreal Canadiens. There's only really two contracts. Is forward Ivan Demidov for 8 years, 73.2 mil. How do we keep him under 10? I don't know. In Hughes we trust. And then
Jesus Dobish.
Dobish. How did we sign Dobish? For under. Actually, I'm going to say it this way. How do we sign him? For barely over 5 mil a year.
Well, I mean, he's. Ooh, I honestly, I want to come up with an answer because that is absurd that Montreal gets away with that.
Montreal
Genuinely.
is showing people how to build a championship team.
I think the only reason they get away with that is because Dobish is still so young.
But he doesn't care about the money. So
I mean, he knows that he'll make his money.
eventually,
He'll make his money.
unless
he'll
he'll
be
be
fine.
a Crosby and just take pay cuts just to be able to give the team more money to get
Yeah.
people.
But the other thing is that they can get away with this because he's so young and because he kind of not came out of the blue, but because he very much overperformed. So technically speaking, Montreal's got a lot of risk going into this. Maybe it's a one-off season. It's not gonna be.
No. Nashville did sign Alex Kerfoot for 2 years, 7 mil, as well as a defenseman Maverick Bork for 6 years, 5.5 average. So
That long of a contract? Oh, it's 5.5 average. Oh, okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. For a moment, I thought it was 5.5 total, and I was about to be very baffled at the fact that they locked him down that long for that cheap.
now New Jersey has sent a offer letter to Barrett Hayden. We have not heard anything from that because that gives Utah 7 days to either match or say, go ahead and give me all your compensations. But they did sign their captain, Nico Hischier, to a 5-year, 58.5 mil contract. So he got the bag. They also signed goaltender David Rittich, for a 1-year, $1 million contract. New York Islanders, in my opinion, they did okay. They got left wing Matthias Maselli, which, funny enough, the Leafs were really close again this guy. And somehow the Islanders were like, anchors away.
I mean, it's the Leafs.
Yeah. And they got goalie Vitek Vanecek for 1 year, 1 mil. New York Rangers got Joe Veleno, 1 year, 1.2 mil. Oliver Bjorkstrand for 1 year, 4.5 mil. And that's about all for the big names that they got. Now, Ottawa Senators. They got some interesting. I thought they would do a lot more with the departure of their captain. So they got forward Nick Cousins. They re-signed him for a 2-year, 3.18 mil, and they got goalie Samuel Earson, who surprisingly got traded from Philly to Toronto and then Toronto to Ottawa in the same 3 days.
That must be rough on a player's mental.
Yeah, for 2 years, 4.4 mil. Now Philly. Philly is in a very interesting spot. They have the cap space, but they have the talent. So it's a mix match on not overpaying.
Mm-hmm.
They did sign Dan Vladar, which is a goaltender for 5 years, 27.5 mil. So that's 5.5 average. They also did sign Zach Aston Reese, which he is a young player that needs a change of scenery. And a player I really want to pay attention to would also be Jack Studnicka. He's shown promise, but he's kind of a middle to bottom, like bottom 9.
So kind of more of a project than anything.
Pittsburgh Penguin has done some great moves. They got left wing Igor Chinnikov signed 3 years for an average of 6.25 a year. Arturos Silovs had a 1 year, 2.8 mil.
Wasn't Silovs the goaltender that played for Vancouver couple of years ago.
in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Another name you know,
I'd say-
Andrei Kuzmenko.
I'd say good for Seelovs, but little less than 3 mil for him seems like a little bit of a steal.
And then
What
another
do I know?
name, as I mentioned before, Andrei Kuzmenko. You know that one. He played for you guys for a little bit.
Mhm.
Signed with Pittsburgh, 1 year, 5 mil. And then Trevor Van Rimsdijk, 2 years, 8 mil. So Pittsburgh is doing the moves for being ready towards the post Crosby, Malkin, Letang era.
It's coming quick.
San Jose, holy God.
Holy, you know what?
They signed Mason Marchman for 5 years, 33.75 mil. With him, and I hope they put him with Celebrini,
Mm.
because that would be diabolical. They also signed defenseman Jacob Trouba,
Of all people.
4 years, 33 mil. Goaltender Eric Comrie, 2 years, 2.3 mil. Oh, what? I did not see these guys getting signed here. I remember telling you that Columbus had to sign Mason Marchman. They obviously did not.
No. Well, I mean, San Jose is kind of they're in a weird spot. They're almost in a pseudo win now position because they have Celebrini.
They're in a
And-
4-window, right? A 4-year window.
Yeah, like they have Celebrini. He's great. He's going to be great. They kind of need to build the team now to at least push for a title and either win it while they have Celebrini or convince him to re-sign later.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that San Jose is making moves and spending some money.
Now, Seattle and St. Louis both signed small players, but Seattle did sign Maki Semakovic for 3 years, 11.55 mils total. Now, Tampa Bay. If you had told me that defenseman John Carlson would sign with the Tampa Bay Lightning for 2 years, 17 mil, I would have laughed at you and then cried.
Yeah.
Because if him and Victor Hedman play on the same line, it is lockdown defense. And both of them have a nasty slap shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like our discussion from last week's episode, a dynamic duo as a defensive pair in hockey is
Yikes.
horrifying.
And
Horrifyingly
now-
good.
They did also sign Ilya Mikheyev for 4 years, 15.4 mil total. And a goalie that they're going to give a shot, which you can't really give that all that shot because they got Vasilevsky. As much as I don't like the guy, and I think he's kind of overhyped, he
He's so
has the
good.
skills.
Yeah.
So Matt Sogar signed a 1 year, $850K contract with Tampa Bay Lightning. We're almost there, I promise.
We're almost down at the bottom of the list. We're in. These are in alphabetical order. We are in the T's. We're nearly there.
Are you sitting down properly?
I mean, I'm sitting on a chair. I don't have armrests to hold on to, but I've got a table.
If I told you that Sergei Bobrovsky was a Toronto Maple Leafs,
I might puke a little bit.
if I told you that he signed 3 years for 21 mil,
I might really puke a little bit.
Jay, go get the bucket.
Okay, my water cup's empty. I'm ready. All right.
So somehow Sergei Bobrovsky is now a Leafs, and he is rejoined with the goalie that started it all, the goalie tandem that started it all for Florida with Stolars.
Interesting. It's an interesting move by the Maple Leafs for
Yeah.
sure. Because I don't know what kind of position they're in. They're somewhere between a need to win now where everything falls apart, but also should probably be looking to rebuild. But then they're doing these
Ask LA, they're good for that.
like I don't know what Toronto is planning.
Yeah. Utah signed center Anders Lee for 3 years, 16.2 mils, which means that Islanders lost their captain. They also signed Sebastian Koza after getting him in a trade for 2 years, 4 mil. And defenseman Zachary Jones for 2 years, 1.75 average, which means he averages at 8.7 something.
Yeah.
Vancouver Canucks. All right, bud, you ready?
We've got a few.
Yeah,
We got a
you
few.
signed Pole Cutter for a 1 year, 2.15 mil, and defenseman Luke Shen for 1 year, 2.25 mil. Luke Shen is probably going to be your best addition.
I
this
was about to say I really like that signing.
But you also got defenseman Jamie Oleksiak for 2 years, 10 mil. Put those two together, and it's going to be stellar.
And suddenly the Canucks have a go-to defensive line.
But that being said, there have been rumors that Hronek is on the move.
Yes, I have seen those, and I think it's less rumors and more speculative guarantees.
Yeah, it's just to who.
Yeah.
Now, Vegas Golden Knights. Oh boy.
That's too much.
They have signed defenseman Jeremy Lauzon for 6 years, $24 million. They have signed defenseman Ramis Anderson for 7 years, $59.5 million. They will be stuck with that contract.
Mm-hmm.
They then signed right winger Victor Olofsson for 1 year, $1.6 million. That is going to be a steal. They proceeded to sign a couple of other players at minimal contracts, but defenseman Vil Heinola for a 1 year, $850K. I've been on this guy. Like when I don't use this a lot. I've been following this guy for a while. He is worth more. Not a lot of people know about him. He's a big guy, but he has the puck skill. This could be a way for him to break out or at least get noticed. On the other hand, Ramis Anderson overpaid.
Oh yeah.
And, like
yeah. He's good. He's decent. He's well known enough, but that's a lot of money and a long contract.
Now, Washington Capitals signed defenseman Justin Holl for 1 year, $900K. Defenseman Vincent Desharnais for 4 years, $16.8 million. He is a big boy. He hits hard. He shoots hard. They then signed Columbus's captain, Boone Jenner, for a 4 year, $23 million contract. If Boone Jenner can stay healthy in this Washington Capital lineup, yikes. And then, it's not even done. Ovi's coming back for another year. He is signing a 1 year contract. Now, let me give you the specifics of this. His salary is going to be $1 million. His signing bonus is 3.25, and if he plays 10 games, he gets a 4.75 million bonus.
If he plays 10 games.
Yes. So technically speaking, this year, for 1 year, Ovi's getting $9 million.
He could get $9 million for playing 10 games.
If he plays 10 games, he gets $9 million.
I know he's your greatest player in team history kind of deal, but that's a lot of money to be giving a guy at the end of his career for, hopes and dreams and maybes.
Yeah. And to finish it up with the Winnipeg Jets, defenseman Mario Ferrero signed a 3 year, $12 million contract, and Stuart Skinner is a Winnipeg Jets. He signed a 2 year, $7.5 million. So this guy just went from Edmonton to Pittsburgh, back to the Jets. So that would be interesting. Now, to go to the trades.
Right, because those were just the signings.
I know, I'm babbling a lot, but here we go, Dallas received a 2027 second-round pick and a 2028 third-round pick that was originally Vegas's pick. And Nashville Predators received forward Maverick Bourque, which they then signed, and defenseman Ilya Lyubushkin, which is a stud. Leafs received a 2028 fourth-round pick, and Penguins then received forward Nicholas Robinson. Yes, he is Robinson for the Dallas Stars' brother. Rangers then received a goaltender due to the fact that Jonathan Quick retired. They needed a backup goalie with Giannis Korpisalo. And the Bruins received forward Kale Vassen and a 2028 fourth-round pick. And then the Sabres. I don't know what it is with the Sabres. We're training their good guys when they're good instead of keeping them. But they received a 2028 third-round pick, and Oilers received a 2028 7th-round pick, and goaltender Bivon Levi.
I mean, the Sabres are banking on the trade model of trade them when they have the most trade value.
Yeah, but then they complain they don't win.
It's it's a high risk, high reward scheme.
Here is the trade that me and you need to talk about a little bit. The Sharks received Darnell Nurse. Oilers received defenseman Zach Sharp and defenseman Shakir Mukhamahamadulin. How did the Sharks get away with this without... No, not even the Sharks. How did the Oilers get away with this without retaining Nurse's contract?
Yeah, like I said, going back on my comments from earlier, the Sharks are kind of in a position where they're probably going to make some ill-advised financial decisions based solely on the fact that they want to make moves to try and either win now or show Celebrini.
But if you wanted that, you'd want to retain salary. So, yeah, I just don't.
What I'm saying is, the Oilers should have retained some of Nurse's salary, right? Yeah. The Sharks shouldn't have taken on Nurse's full salary. I'm just saying they probably accepted that because they're just looking to get stuff done.
Maybe.
That would be my guess.
Lightning receives a 2027 4th round and a 2028 3rd round, and Toronto receives forward Nick Paul. This one caught me off left field because Nick Paul was doing so well in Lightning, but I guess he wanted to be depressed.
I don't know if this is a trade request or if this is the Lightning going, hey, high trade value, give us picks.
No trade request. I looked it up.
Yeah, so that this was probably the Lightning just going, hey, you guys need players, and we want your draft picks.
Golden Knights got a 2027 7th-round pick and a 2029 3rd-round pick, and Detroit in return received forward Keegan Colasar, big dude. Major trade was Rangers receiving defenseman Shane Dursey, forward Cole Baudouin, and a 2027 3rd-round pick for the Mammoths to receive forward Vincent Trocheck.
It's a big move.
Rangers also then received defenseman Marcus Pettersson, and Canucks received a conditional 2030 first-round pick. I have not yet the cause of the conditional yet.
I don't like that. I know it's a first-round pick, but that draft is 3 years away. And knowing Vancouver Canucks' luck, that condition is probably going to cause them to not get that pick.
Yeah. Now, here's the last trade I'm going to talk about before going into a offer sheet that baffled me. The Flames received defenseman Jake Middleton, a 2029 2nd-rounder, a 2028 4th-rounder, and a 2027 3rd-rounder. And the Wild received forward Blake Coleman, which the Flames retained 50% of his salary, and defenseman Ollie Mata. The Flames have finally gotten rid of Blake Coleman's contract.
Well, half of it.
Half of it. So it's time to get your young guys in. Now, here's the one thing that, and I got a friend who's a big Philly fan, and so I was able to get a little bit of backstory on this. You asked me why everybody in Philly boos when Gauthier has the puck. When they play the Ducks. The Ducks made a offer to Gauthier, a hostile offer they call it, when he was in Philly. Philly didn't match. So this is kind of a revenge. Philly offered Leo Carlson, the forward, a 5-year, $90 million contract, $18 million average a year. He would be the highest paid player. He didn't average a point per game, by the way, last year. He averaged 69 points. Just as a revenge. Now,
so they're offering Leo Carlson this much money out of pettiness.
Basically.
So it's a terrible financial decision because they got butthurt.
See, there's the issue. Is if with this signing, they also have to give 4 first-round picks since he's a restricted free agent.
Okay, so overpaying him and losing draft picks because of pettiness.
So Philly has the salary cap for it, but the Ducks also have the salary cap for it. But now due to the fact that if the Ducks qualify this offer, they have the potential of losing out on signing on another guy that they will need,
So
which is Benik Seneki.
So what you're saying is that Philly is making this qualifying offer specifically to put the Ducks in a
Financial,
spot.
yes,
Okay, so they're both just going to try to eat each other alive.
basically.
Is what you're saying.
So I haven't heard if
Grown men.
Yeah.
Pettiness.
I haven't heard if the Ducks have kind of accepted the terms of the offer or are going to let him walk, but it is to be seen. And I have a very, very enthusiastic buddy right now that is just waiting for any sign of danger. So, in the NHL, though, still quiet. Little signings. Oh, there.
You mean the NFL?
Yes, sorry. The NHL is not quiet.
It's like we just spoke about the NHL.
Damn. In the NFL, it's because we're on a Monday, man. I'm so confused.
He's backwards, man. Inside out, backwards. His lefts are his rights.
In the NFL, other than small signings and some key days that are coming out, there's nothing big. Next week, I should be able to kind of pinpoint some important games, or maybe even like we all sit down, we're like, oh, this guy wins, and this guy wins, and this guy wins, and this guy wins. Kind of prediction.
I mean, we've got the time, and there aren't like that many games in the NFL. We could just each go across the whole schedule and just pick our winners and losers.
See, you know what would be interesting with that is that me and you would do that and get like a 25% rate, and then Jay would do that just and
No,
get
he'd flip a coin every time.
Yeah, and get like a 92% winning rate.
Yeah.
I'm right 50% of the time, 100%.
Actually, no, that's a lie. I know Jay's luck with predicting brackets and who's going to win. He's going to be at 30%.
Fuck you, the MSF. It's not my fault.
You picked them.
Now, in the CFL, see how I got that one right?
Well, yeah, there's no other league that starts other than CEBL, but we're past that now.
It opened up with a bang. Calgary winning 58-36 against Toronto.
Nearly
How
a
about
100-point
that
game.
for your blowout, Mr. Rugby?
Hey, look, football's just rugby's cousin.
Calgary scores on the first drive after a 43-yard return on a kickoff.
Solid field
Late
position.
in the first quarter, Alexander picks off Kelly. Calgary scores 21 in the second quarter. Calgary also answered back quickly with Argo scoring in a minute and 53 seconds left. They then score with only 11 seconds left in the first half. Second half was all Calgary. There was not many points for Toronto. Calgary just showed up, went okay, put on 29 points, and that was it. Now, when you go to the unfortunate part for the Toronto is Kelly did get sidelined towards the end of the game. So he had a rough game, but it wasn't really his fault. Like Calgary was all over him. Nothing much you can do. Now, some notable Calgary players is QB Adams Jr. went 20 for 25, 405 passing yards, and 22 rushing yards, 5 passing TDs and 1 rushing TDs. Hell of a game. And then Jones had 4 receptions for 139 yards. Meanwhile, Alexander had 2 interceptions during this game. The only really notable player for Toronto was Coxie, had 8 receptions for 148 yards.
You know how sad it must feel to go for 8 receptions and 148 yards and feel really good about yourself? And then you look across the field, and there's a guy with half the receptions and only 9 yards behind you.
Yeah.
That is an insane game from Jones.
Yeah. Now, on a little bit of a tighter spectrum, Ottawa loses to Riders 27-22. It was actually a comeback win for the Riders as Ottawa went up 13-0 in the first quarter. Special teams did convert for the Riders. It was a very defensive fourth quarter. as well as the special teams help and the Riders' defense was a major part for the win in this game. Now, notable Rider players. Kate Johnson went for 137 yards on 9 receptions. The Red Blacks had Schaefer Baker and Emilus covered. Emilus had 9 yards. Schaefer Baker had 9 yards, and Emilus had like 42. Like, those guys shut down our top guys, and Johnson was just open.
Mm-hmm.
Sexton returned a punt for a 101-yard touchdown, and Harris had a below average game. Like, yes, we won, but you look at his numbers, 18 completion on 31 tries.
Yeah, he wasn't the victory condition. He sucked just he sucked just not enough.
Yeah. Now the Red Blacks players, like, I feel bad for Hardy. He went 92 yards on 5 receptions. The rest, there wasn't really anything. The Riders completely shut it down after the first quarter. You guys made a joke last week. It was the defeated versus the undefeated. And you were like, wow, the defeated is going to lose and the undefeated is going to win. And then Chris went, well, wait.
All I'm saying is that if you look at the actual wild and nature and you look at the outdoors, Lions beat the Elks.
Man's bringing biology.
And they also beat them in the CFL this week.
36-24 for the Lions against the Elks. Hey, it helps him get his 7-11.
I was about to say that is a step closer for him getting to 7-11 because he needs the help.
Percentage-wise, it ain't.
He needs the help. I desperately need the help because what did I predict? Oh goodness,
I think you went like
I predicted something ridiculous.
Oh, you were like 12-5 or 13-4.
It was something ridiculous like
ain't
that.
Looking, you need to win basically every
I think I predicted 13-5.
Yeah,
I think was my prediction.
Edmonton did score 15 in the second quarter, which would be pretty nice if BC didn't score 19 in that same quarter.
It's called one-upping.
BC completely BC.
Excuse you.
BC dominated the rushing game with 162 yards on 21 attempts to Edmonton's 24 yards on 9 attempts.
Okay, look. It's the Edmonton Elks from Alberta. I think I'm going to make Miggy cry with my comments. But Miggy, it's okay. You mess up the letters, I mess up the numbers. Equality, balance, you know?
Yeah. Notable players for BC was Butler went 100.
See how he emphasized the B.
Butler went 135 yards on 15 rushing attempts. BC had 8 receivers with 15 plus receiving yards, as well as their defense had 7 pass disruptions.
Solid game from the boys.
Edmonton players, Mac had 141 yards on 8 receptions, and this is really, it's like a bittersweet for Edmonton here. Their QB, Fajardo, went 34 for 51.
A lot of passes to be throwing in one game.
Yes. He went 395 yards. 3 touchdowns. So you're like, okay, like...
Very good numbers.
3 interceptions.
I mean, that would explain the below average completion percentage.
Yeah. And then you have the defense with 7 pass disruption. So that is 10 tries. That brings up to 44 and 51, which means 7 of his throws
were just misses. Okay, so I guess you kind of answered my question. So pass disruptions and interceptions are separated, right? Like, it's not that interceptions are also pass disruptions. It's like 2 different things entirely.
Yes.
Okay. Fun stats. Fun to learn about that
now
stuff.
We got, the big 58-36 game, 27-22, 36-24.
I mean, the lowest score so far is 22. I mean, like, you can't get any lower, really.
Or Winnipeg played anybody else this week, they would have lost. Winnipeg won 14-13.
Who did they beat?
Hamilton.
Oh, that explains it. Okay.
It was a low-scoring affair. Ham opens up with an interception that leads to a touchdown. Minutes later, Both QBs got injured. I couldn't get anything on the Winnipeg QB, but Bo Levi did exit with a lower body injury. Winnipeg gets the win with a field goal with less than 20 seconds left.
So not only did they only score 14, not only did they only score by 1, they were down
Yeah.
with half a minute left
Yeah.
in the game. Okay.
Key notable players for Winnipeg was Oliveira, went 84 yards on 17 attempts. Not a really good percentage.
I mean,
But the defense did combine for 2 sacks, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 5 pass disruptions. This was a very defensive game.
mm-hmm.
Hamilton had Smith going for 90 yards on 7 receptions, a little better than the 84 with 17 attempts.
Yeah.
And the defense had 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 3 sacks.
This was not just a bad offensive game. This was a legit defensive game.
Oh, yeah. Now, these are the games coming up. In week 6, the Red Blacks will be playing the Elks on Thursday, July 9th. On Friday, July 10th, Argos will be playing against the Bombers. Saturday, July 11th, Stampeders versus the Birds. And then Sunday, June 12th, the Tigers will be playing the Riders. The BC Lions have a bye this week.
Well, I mean, it's 1 week that we're not going to lose.
I mean, lose sleep over who you're getting next, I guess.
Look, all I'm going to say is that we're going to come out of this next week no worse than when we went into it.
I mean, fair.
And
now,
at this rate, I will take it.
Talking about going the next week no worse than you can. How about looking at a roster and going, yikes. I'm sorry, bud, but the transactions that have been happening in the NBA.
The transactions in the NBA are so wild at the moment that I'm actually going to pull a fast one on you. We're going to go through the MLB quickly first before we get to the NBA.
Okay.
Because there's not a lot of good in the MLB for the Blue Jays right now, other than the fact that the All-Star break is coming up, so we've got a week off where, we're not going to get any further away from 500.
Yeah.
The Jays had a rough week. June 30th, we lose 3-0 to the Mets. The only player on the Jays that did any decent was Gossman. He went 6 innings, allowed 5 hits, only 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts. We follow up with a 9-3 victory over the Mets on July 1st. So, solid game. Sean Keyes, the rookie, I think he's a rookie. First home run of his career. 3 RBIs. He only went 1 for 4, but good for the kid. Miles Straw, he went 1 for 1 and hit a home run on the 1 hit with 3 RBIs. Kirk, 2 for 2, 2 walks. I mean, he didn't get out at all this game. Okamoto, 2 for 2, a walk and an RBI. Toronto was 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They took advantage of their opportunities in this game, which is not much that can be said for some of the games later this past week. July 3rd was a 2-0 victory over the Mariners. Dylan Cease had a phenomenal performance. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts. Andres Jimenez, he went 1 for 3. He had a double, a walk, and an RBI. Sean Keyes, 2 for 4, and he was batted in once. Toronto did, however, leave 8 men on base this game. Now we get into the rough part of this week. July 4th was an 11-0 loss to the Seattle Mariners. Toronto went a collective 1 for 28, 0 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Shane Bieber, I'm glad that he's back, but he is having a rough return. In 4 innings pitched, he allowed 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 home runs, and only struck out 3 guys. Yes. Adam Macko pitched 1 2/3 innings, allowed 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and only had 2 strikeouts. Nance pitched a third of an inning, allowed 2 hits, an earned run, had the strikeout for his only out, and allowed a home run. Miles Straw came in to pitch at the end of the game because it was lost. He went 1 inning pitched, no hits, no runs. Our best pitcher this game was a position player. July 5th, which was yesterday. 4-0 loss to the Mariners. Savage had a solid game as a starter. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Toronto had another abysmal batting day. 3 for 27, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts.
Yeah.
The upcoming games for the Jays, we have a 3-game series the Giants. Where are the Giants from again?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. I was about to say San Diego. No, we have a 3-game series in San Francisco against the Giants, July 6th through 8th. July 10th through 12th, it's against the Padres. July 13th is the Home Run Derby, and July 14th is the All-Star Game. And then the boys have a few days off. Now, despite the abysmal season going on so far, we did get 4 players voted to the All-Star Game. Ernie Clement, Vladdy, Dylan Cease, and Varland. Now, Vladdy has chosen to decline his spot in favor of taking the time off to recuperate from some lower back issues that he's dealing with.
Yeah, he stated that he was dealing with some lower back recently, so I'm kind of happy that he's taking this break. So we can maybe get prime Vladdy back.
Initially, I thought he was taking this break because he felt like he didn't deserve it, which quite frankly he doesn't. As much as I love the fact that, Jays fans voted these guys in and just broke the system, Vladdy has not been that guy this year.
Defensively, he's been good, but offensively, he hasn't been the guy we need.
He's swinging a pool noodle. But hopefully the break helps.
Yeah.
We're going into the second half of the season, and we really need to pick up the pace if we want any shot at even the playoffs at this point.
Yeah.
John Schneider and his coaching staff will manage the American League All-Stars, seeing as they were the American League champions last year. Our injury list is not necessarily getting shorter, but we only have a few updates this week. So Max Scherzer is still suffering from back spasms, but he's got a rehab start July 8th, so on Thursday. Nope, on Wednesday. I keep forgetting that it's Monday. I think I've been forgetting this whole time, and there are probably a few dates that I've said where I keep thinking that tomorrow is Wednesday, but it's not. It's Tuesday. It's the Monday. Addison Barger, he is at their facility in Florida. They're just going to keep him under evaluation and just sort of watch for now, and he's going to be reevaluated after the All-Star break. Yimi Garcia, he's going to be starting bullpen backup later this week, and Jesus Sanchez has started running and hitting again, and he's nearing a rehab assignment. Now, with the MLB out of the way, we are going to go to the NBA now, and just like the NHL, there's a lot going on. There are a lot of moves, and I am going to try my best to only really go in depth into the ones that really matter. So, Keon Ellis, he signed 2 years for $18 million with the Brooklyn Nets. A big one here is Luke Kennard. He had been on the Lakers last year and kind of had a breakout year as a very clutch 3-point shooter and even a second option on the offensive end. And the Lakers just couldn't keep him under contract. He signs with the Phoenix Suns for 2 years, $13 million. Now, this really sucks for the Lakers because Kennard genuinely became one of the best shooters in the NBA last season. He shot nearly 50% from 3. He shot 47.8%. So that is a heavy, heavy loss for the Lakers. Zach Collins is signing with the Bulls for 2 years, $17 million. Dean Wade, who had been the starting small forward for the Cleveland Cavaliers, is off to Philadelphia on a 4-year, $39 million contract right now. He's not the biggest scorer, but he's a solid defender and just sort of a solid role player, kind of more like a 6th-man or 7th-man off the bench kind of guy, but also can fit into that starting role. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he is headed to the Houston Rockets on a 1-year deal. He's been in the league for quite a while. He's in his 10th season at the moment, but he was battling through some hamstring injuries last season. So the Rockets are hoping to get more than the 23 appearances that he had last year out of him this coming season. Marcus Smart, another guy that the Lakers couldn't hold on to. He is off to the Houston Rockets on a 2-year, $13 million deal. John Collins, he is off to Detroit on a 3-year, $51 million deal. Last year, he averaged 13.6 points, 5.3 rebounds, and shot a very respectable 55% from the field while he played for the LA Clippers. Norman Powell, who is a guy that I was hoping that the Raptors would take a look into and maybe sign, but at the same time, after the big Kawhi news, I kind of knew that they just didn't have the cap space for. Norman Powell is an all-star, and he was injured and didn't get a lot of playing time last year because of it with the Heat, but he's off to play in Chicago with the Bulls on a 2-year, $45 million deal. Jonathan Mobo, for who any Raptors fan would know, he was one of our young kind of projects in the last couple of years. The Raptors did not re-sign him. He's off to Sacramento on a 2-way deal, and the terms of the contract have not been announced just yet. Nikola Vucevic, who was on the Celtics last season as kind of an experiment, mostly because the Celtics didn't really have a go-to big man and were hoping for kind of a extra scoring punch from that position, and it just didn't really work out. So he's actually going back to the team that he had the most success on, back to the team that he was an all-star with in the Orlando Magic on a 1-year, $3.9 million contract.
Okay.
Mike Conley Jr., who I know best as one of the engines to the grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies years ago, but you, Miggy, would know as sort of like a old savvy point guard who played for Minnesota for the last couple of years. He is joining the Boston Celtics on a 1-year deal. The terms have not been announced, but it is likely just going to be a veteran's minimum.
Okay. Kind of just finishes years off.
Yeah, well, he's in his 20th season.
Yeah.
And that makes him only the 14th player in NBA history to reach that mark. So he's getting there. He's almost done. Mo Wagner, the slightly less good brother of Franz Wagner, is off to the Brooklyn Nets on a 2-year, $19 million deal.
Wagner kind of, I couldn't recognize the first name because you like the other Wagner brother.
Yeah, Franz he's very good. He's a very solid player. He's just kind of stuck in Orlando.
So I was kind of thrown off when I saw
Orlando Wagner. Yeah.
It said de France.
Yeah, no. The Orlando Magic had both Wagner brothers for the last couple of years, but they're moving on from Mo. Mitchell Robinson. Here's another name that I was very speculative on where he'd be going because I was pretty sure he wasn't going to re-sign with the Knicks.
Yeah.
And I was right. He is off to the Boston Celtics on a 3-year, $47.4 million deal. So the Knicks lose their backup big man, and the Celtics get a proven big man who just won a championship.
It's always a good thing.
Now, here's a back-to-back moves that the Los Angeles Lakers had to make since they've been losing so many players. And especially since LeBron isn't going to re-sign with them. So the Lakers sign Walker Kessler, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Quentin Grimes, and Colin Sexton all in the same day. And I'm pretty sure all within a couple hours of each other.
Okay.
The Lakers have been losing so many guys that they just went out and basically bought the best free agents that they could find to just fill out their team.
Just so they have a team.
Just so they have a team that they can actually put out on the court. The Lakers next year are going to be Luka Doncic and whatever the Lakers can put together. And Austin Reeves.
They still have Butler's Golden State.
Yeah, Butler's the Golden State. So like it's Doncic, it's Reeves, it's Walker Kessler, but after that, like this Lakers team is looking very makeshift. Now, I'm upset that they signed Mamu and the Raptors couldn't, but at the same time, Mamu is worth $10 million a year, and the Raptors just don't have the cap space for that. So it makes sense. Few other notable moves. Kelly Oubre Jr., who spent the last 2 seasons with Philadelphia, he is signing a 2-year, $17 million contract with the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are going to be looking to be more competitive this year. Halliburton should be coming back. They still have Siakam. That team is still good. They just didn't have their engine.
Still middle of the pack.
Yeah. Tobias Harris, who was most recently on the Detroit Pistons, is now off to play for the San Antonio Spurs on a 2-year, $31 million contract. So the Spurs, coming off of a defeat in the finals, are bringing in a proven scorer and a bit of a veteran to add to their young team. Jackson Hayes, another guy that played for the Lakers last season. He is off to play for the Utah Jazz on a 2-year, $12 million deal.
What is Utah Jazz's situation? It seems very...
They are one of the most confusing situations in the NBA right now.
Because, like, they could be buyers, but they could be sellers.
They could be buyers, they could be sellers. They're making a lot of decisions based on their well, he's not a rookie anymore, but on their young player Ace Bailey. And they're kind of in this weird spot of they have enough assets that they're winning enough games that they don't suck, but they can't make the moves to make themselves good enough to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So they are stuck in purgatory right now. And now to one of the biggest deals of the summer so far for the NBA, because Giannis to the Heat wasn't enough, Kawhi to the Raptors wasn't enough. We have Jaylen Brown going to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Celtics just said, hey, you were the only reason why we were even in the playoffs last year because Jason Tatum was injured for 70 games.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. The Boston Celtics are trading Jaylen Brown to the 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks. That's it. The 76ers have gone away with highway robbery. And Miggy, you and I were talking earlier about Paul George might be the most valuable player in NBA history because
Trading-wise.
Trade-wise. Because at this point, this man has been traded for Jaylen Brown, SGA, Victor Oladipo, and God knows how many picks. And for some reason, teams just keep lining up to be like, hey, Paul George, you want to come over and ruin our franchise for the next half decade?
So you can save it afterwards?
I don't understand what's going on here. Jaylen Brown was top 5 in MVP voting last year, if I remember correctly. He just averaged nearly 29 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, and a steal through 71 games. He was 6th in MVP voting. Like, this guy is MVP caliber, and you get Paul George, who is old and nowhere near the player he used to be, and 2 first-round picks. That's it. That's all Boston gets out of this. I haven't seen the Boston Celtics make such a terrible just off-season decision in years, decades even.
Did he get, was there a request for a trade, or?
No, there wasn't even a request. This was just straight up the Celtics going, hey, we don't want you anymore because we want to
It's like when the
Jason
Mavericks
Tatum more time on the
So
ball.
when the Mavericks called up the LA, hey, you want Luka Doncic?
You know what? You know what's the funny thing about this? This makes the Luka Doncic trade look reasonable.
Yikes.
That's how bad this is. The Celtics just went, hey, we have one of the best dynamic duos in history, and we're going to ship half of it away. I don't get it. I genuinely do not get it. Now, a slightly less impactful trade between the Grizzlies and the Mavericks. The Grizzlies are trading Santi Aldama and Tarek Biberovic to the Mavericks in exchange for AJ Johnson and a protected 2030 first-round pick, as well as 2 future second-round picks. This is kind of Memphis getting just sort of picks assets and Dallas getting some players in. Santi Aldama, he averaged 14 points and 7 rebounds, but he only played about half a season because he was coming off of injury. He played 43 games.
Okay.
So Memphis is getting some picks in this, which Memphis, I think, is just going into full rebuild mode. I mean, they have moved basically everybody that they could move. And the Mavericks are just getting some players to sort of build up a team around Cooper Fleck.
What you're saying is the Grizzlies are just gonna suck.
They are going to suck for a while. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if it takes them 4 or 5 years before they're really even the playoff picture again.
Okay.
And Marvin Bagley III, who is a player that I was kind of high on when he initially came into the league, but he has really underperformed. He's going to be signing with the Denver Nuggets for 1 year. The Nuggets have been kind of lacking in their front court depth-wise. Like, they've always had Jokic and they've had Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon's been kind of injury prone the last season or two, and after those two guys, they haven't really had the big men sort of necessary coming off the bench.
Yep.
So that signing is just kind of to fill that spot in. Anthony Simons is signing with the 76ers for 2 years, $12.3 million.
So the 76ers are going to be heavy.
The 76ers are really building up a team to contend this coming year. Kyle Anderson, also known as Slow-Mo, for those of you who know, he is signing with the Toronto Raptors for 1 year, $3.9 million. Just the veteran signing, Raptors getting him kind of to fill up the bench. After that, it's kind of a lot of smaller signings. Sort of Tyus Jones signs with Denver for 1 year. Kenrich Williams signs with OKC for 1 year, $5 million. Tari Easton signs with the Rockets for 5 years, $81.5 million. Sorry, not all small ones. We've got a fairly decent one here. It's a pretty expensive contract for a guy that only averaged 10 points and 6 rebounds. But Houston has been mentioned a few times, so they're kind of signing guys, building up a little bit of team. They were very disappointing in the last year's playoffs. They were up against a injured and depleted Lakers team, and they still managed to lose in 5. Neemias Queta, he played for the Boston Celtics. He's re-signing there on a 4-year, $56 million contract. Dorian Finney-Smith, he is signing with the Charlotte Hornets, although the details of his contract are still unknown. And we just keep going with some of these moves. The Lakers and the Washington Wizards had a trade. The Lakers are trading away DeAndre Jordan to the Wizards for Jaden Hardy and 2 second-round picks. So the Lakers, they re-signed DeAndre Ayton. They signed Walker Kessler, and now they're sending DeAndre Ayton away because they don't need him anymore. So it's a crazy business out there. Andre Drummond, who had been playing for the 76ers, he's signing with the New York Knicks now for 1 year, $3.9 million. He's kind of had a funny career so far. He used to be just the 7-foot, like really buff, big shoulders, big man who only dunked and only blocked and only rebounded. But then somewhere along the line, he decided, hey, I'm going to need to be able to shoot threes if I want my career to last any bit longer. And he's a half-decent three-point shooter now. Just kind of out of the blue.
Interesting.
Josh Okogie, who played for Minnesota briefly, if I remember correctly, he's signing with the Utah Jazz for 2 years, $12 million. Again, I'm not sure what this deal accomplishes for the Jazz. He's a rotation player. He really is. Quentin Post signs with the Memphis Grizzlies on a 3-year, $30 million contract. Rui Hachimura, another Los Angeles Laker that they just couldn't hold on to. He signs with the team just down the road in the Los Angeles Clippers.
Moving's going to be cheap.
Yeah, for 2 years, $28 million. And the last transaction, and probably the most important one to me as a Raptors fan, is that the Sacramento Kings have waived DeMar DeRozan. And if you follow the Raptors at all, or DeMar DeRozan at all, you know that there's speculation around the league right now that with DeRozan being waived by the Sacramento Kings, the Raptors are the front runner to sign him right now, since DeRozan has stated that he is willing to sign a veteran's minimum contract if the team is a contender.
Well, with the moves that Toronto's have been making,
Toronto is going to be a scary team next year, just as is. And with the news that Kyle Lowry is going to sign a 1-day contract to retire as a Raptor, and, all of the teasing and speculation, I would not be surprised if DeRozan comes back for, one more shot. Now, speaking of the Raptors, I want to talk about them, and I want to talk about the Wolves a little bit because you and I have had a couple conversations this week about how
We might just be on the winning side.
how some teams have very suddenly become very
Scary.
real contenders. The Sixers are now very real contenders again. They have Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey. Crazy team. The Raptors get Kawhi back. He won them their only championship.
Yeah.
And if you look at Toronto's roster just right now, you have Quickly, Barrett, Kawhi, Barnes, Pirtle as your starting five. And then off the bench, you have Shed, Walter, either Jameson Battle or potentially DeMar DeRozan if he does sign with them. Their rookie Graves and Colin Murray Boyles. That is a fantastic team just altogether. And the defensive potential of the trio of Colin Murray Boyles, Kawhi Leonard, and Scotty Barnes immediately puts Toronto as a top 5, potentially top 3 defense even before the season has started.
Yeah.
Now looking at the Timberwolves, you still have Anthony Edwards, who continues to get better.
Yeah.
You still have Gobert.
Yeah.
You basically traded out Randall to get LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
An actual point guard, like a star point guard, to pair alongside of Anthony Edwards. And you re-signed Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah.
So you have that actual, like, sixth man star.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves might be one of the best offenses next year. Purely on star talent.
Yeah.
Because now it's not just, hey, Ant, make a shot. It's going to be, hey, Ant, you can pass to LaMelo now. And you can get easier shots and score 30 consistently.
He won't have to like ice his back every day now because he's doing everything. Like they got Ant help.
They got Ant proper help. And that's not like, I'm not trying to put Julius Randle on blast or anything. Like, he's a good player. Like, he's a really good player. It's just
what they got is better.
They upgraded. Yes. They really did. And like, Randall also just always struggled to perform in the biggest of moments.
Yeah.
LaMelo Ball ain't scared of anything.
Dude, I've seen some of the shots he takes, and I'm like, yeah.
Terrible shot. Amazing shot. Never mind. Run back on defense.
Yeah, so like, terrible shot you see going in, you go, you know what? It may not be half bad.
I mean, there's a video.
He's a coach's nightmare.
There's a video back from, 10 whatever years ago, back from the Golden State Warriors dynasty, where Steph Curry takes the most ridiculous 3-point shot. The panel pans to Steve Kerr, and all you see is him go, what are you doing, with his hands on his head? The shot goes in, and he just turns around and just gives up. Just like,
you can't even scold them.
No, you can't complain. It's like, that was an awful shot. Why would you take that? But it went in, coach. It touched nothing but net. And it was 3 points.
Did you not hear that?
It barely touched the net.
You cannot get mad at me. I did what I needed to do. And it's just like, you right?
But you out of line.
But damn. LaMelo is the exact same. He just takes shots, and you're like, I mean, it went in. What you gonna do? So the NBA is gonna continue being crazy along with the NHL. Now, in other basketball news, the FIBA Basketball World Cup America's Qualifiers is on right now. Now, the FIBA Basketball World Cup is the big international basketball competition outside of the Olympics.
Yeah.
That is going to be happening in 2027. So right now we have all of the different regions qualifiers of Asia, Europe. We have the Americas qualifier going on right now. We are in the midst of round 1 of the qualifiers.
Oh, so just started.
Sort of. So round 1, we have 16 teams total. Canada, US, some other Americas-based teams. In round 1, there are 3 windows, quote unquote, of games. Okay. Which is basically just, hey, here are the 2 years before the World Cup. You guys are going to play 2 games, middle of 2025. You're going to play 2 games end of 2025. You're going to play another 2 games middle of 2026. So basically, these teams kind of have almost sort of game weekends every few months.
Okay.
And right now we are in the third and final window of games of round 1.
Okay.
Canada has played 5 games and they are 5-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they just beat the US.
No, they just beat Puerto Rico, I
Puerto
think
Rico?
it was.
Okay.
Yes. So there, like I said, there's 16 teams qualifying. Once round 1 is done, which is going to be right away here because they're going to play their 6th game, the 16 teams are currently split into 4 groups. The top 3 teams from each of those groups is going to go on to round 2. So then we have 12 teams.
Yeah.
And those 12 teams are going to be split into 2 new groups. And then round 2 is also going to be 3 windows of 2 games each. So another 6 games. And then the top 3 from each of those 2 groups, plus the best 4th seed, are the 7 qualifiers from the Americas for the FIBA World Cup in 2027. Canada being 5-0 in round 1 already, they have guaranteed a spot in round 2. And the cool thing for Canada is that your games in round 1 carry over. It's your whole record from round 1
So
and
it's
round
a
2.
total of 12 games.
Yes, it'll be a total of 12 games.
And they're already 5-0 up.
Yeah, and they're already 5-0, and they are likely to win their 6th game as well. If any of that didn't make any sense to any of you out there, there is an explainer video on FIBA's website. And trust me, I had to listen to that once or twice to finally get their format. Now, an interesting little tidbit of information. Most of these players in these sort of international competition, they're NBA players, or they come from sort of the tier 1 or tier 2 leagues in Europe or Asia or even in Africa. We have a CEBL player on the Canadian team. The Canadian Elite Men's Basketball League has a Canadian player on the Canadian international team at this competition, which I thought was really cool. And it's actually a name that you and I would know, Miggy, but not from what you think. So on the Mamba, there's Jaden Bediako.
Yes.
Right? He has a brother.
Oh yeah, he plays for the Ottawa.
He plays for the Scarborough Shooting Stars. Charles Bediako plays, the Shooting Stars are the best team in the CEBL right now. But Charles Bediako plays is on the roster for Canada's team for these qualifiers.
Sweet.
So I thought that was a really cool, just kind of connection of not just sort of a Canadian, but also from the Canadian League, but also connected to one of the players on Saskatoon's team.
Yeah.
Weird how those connections work.
5 degrees of separation.
5 degrees of separation. Now, with that being said, that is all I have for basketball. So I'm going to leave it off to you, Miggy, for any updates we have on our Canadian soccer leagues.
Oh, I got some updates, bud. So,
oh yeah, I'm real excited for that one.
I got real excited to shoot you down.
Shoot me down? What did I do?
Vancouver is playing Forge in the CPL July 1st. Vancouver entered the second half with a 2-0 lead.
So they won.
They lost 3-2.
Oh. FC
scored in the 7th minute from a quick answer on a Forge mistake. Forge then scored 3 goals in 14 minutes in the second half at the 61st minute, 64th minute, and the 75th minute.
Okay.
And then Vancouver lost because of goalkeeping. I looked at the highlights. I am sorry, and you know me, I am a goalkeeper, so I haven't goaled to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
But as a goalkeeper, getting caught looking at the ball going in,
it's rough. It's a bit embarrassing.
He didn't fully commit, and Jay, you watched a lot of soccer, man. When you don't know if it's not gonna go in or not gonna go out near the post, you go for it.
You commit to
even
it.
If you think it's 1 foot off.
I will
go
show you this video after this recording. You literally see the guy going and the ball going in. I looked at this highlight and went, what?
This is not volleyball. You can't just say you can't just call out.
The ball's out, ref, I swear.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was confused. But Forge did come out with the victory 3-2. Then Halifax played Ottawa, and Ottawa won 3-1. And it just keeps going. Opening the scoring early. Ottawa scores in the 3rd minute.
Okay. So did the goalies just not hit the pitch until minute 5?
No, actually, you can't blame the goalie for this. It was completely due to a breakdown in Halifax's defense right at the start.
Okay.
The second goal was put in precisely, and I mean precisely, in the top right corner from the top right corner of the goalie's box.
Ooh.
And if you guys could see Jay's face, that's usually not how they go in.
No, because that's top corner from the same side.
Yes.
That's top corner. That's top bins from 5 feet away.
Huh.
No. From the top corner on the outside box.
Oh, the bigger box.
Yes.
It's just
Which is even worse.
It's just the fact that it's same side, which means the spin that you'd have to put on the ball is going inwards of the net.
It's top bit. Oh Lord.
Ye-
That's a curve. That's a curvature of 75 degrees.
Chris and Jay, it was straight.
Oh. I love
Motherfucker laced it.
Yes.
I love that.
It was straight.
He laced it.
Yes. Halifax goal was a very lucky bounce. It kind of bounced off the defenseman, bounced off the forward, bounced back off the goalie, bounced back on the forward into the net. Like
Just a cluster.
the goalie tried everything. You can see the disappointment. Like, yes, you're up, but like still. Now, here are the stats. Possession was 64-36 for Ottawa. Both teams received a yellow, except Halifax's yellow resulted in a goal for Ottawa. Because it resulted into a penalty kick. Saturday, July 4th, was not a good day for Ontario. As both teams got shut out.
Yikes.
So the Cavs, no surprise there. But again, quick opening to the scoring in the 9th minute from a header from a very juicy corner ball. The second goal was due to a save that was left for a rebound. I know how much Chris loves those.
Look, man,
And
I always scream about
open
rebound
net.
control.
An open net. You would have seen this, Chris, and I know you're not a big soccer goalie or a soccer player or even just
Just a soccer guy.
yeah. But like, I'm gonna put this in hockey terms. Nathan McKinnon's open net.
I was about to say, I know where you're taking this. I know where you're going with this.
Cavs' third goal was an absolute beautiful play as well. Attacker pulls in 3 defenders towards them, almost heading to the goal line, and then centering backwards to a almost completely free Cavalier player to perform a nice header right into the goal. Ottawa did have some really good chances, but at the end of the day, didn't really produce anything. Now, Vancouver whoops Toronto 4-0. And let me tell you, they went up to a zip and they remembered that let's not have Forge 2.0.
Yeah. Let's keep a lead this time.
Just wait. Vancouver opened up the scoring with 2 goals in the opening 6 minutes. They scored in the 1st minute and in the 6th minute.
So we're speed running soccer now.
Apparently so. Vancouver, Amici had a hat trick and was a big reason for the win. It's kind of there for the reasons, you know, if you have a hat trick, usually you win.
You'd think, you'd hope.
All goals were scored in the first half. Vancouver then was like, hey, let's not have that Forge game happen again, and just locked down defensively in the second half, but still had some good chances.
Smart.
Fun fact, though, Vancouver had 8 shots on goal on 10 shots.
Okay.
And Toronto had 1 shot on goal on 12 shots. So, kind of hard to win or compete if you only have 1 shot on goal.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to score that way.
Now,
Usually you need the ball in the net, not around it.
yeah, July 5th Supra played against Forge. Forge challenged a missed foul call after a corner that resulted into a penalty kick for Forge and then resulted into a goal in the 44th minute. I am somewhat struggling with this VAR stuff
Okay.
because I understand human error,
Mhm.
but that's kind of what makes the game.
Not.
Like, I understand what you're gonna say because I know you're a stickler for rules.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, at one point, do we just give technology everything? You know?
Because technology isn't 100% accurate is
Yeah.
the issue right now.
VAR isn't 100% either.
Yeah. So
As well as like, I'm sorry. I understand the apprehensions about technological advancements
Yeah.
in the sports area, but at a time there can be 22 people in about a 20 square feet
exactly.
space.
That I understand.
So I'm sorry, but as much as I would love to trust the umpire, he ain't seen shit.
Yeah. And then Supra optimizes on the Forge costly turnover in their own defensive zone. So again, Forge being their own enemy here with another defensive turnover, like they had in that game against Vancouver. Now, here's another interesting fun fact. Forge had 7 shots on goal on 13 shots. Supra had 1 shot on goal on 12 shots.
So what you're telling me is don't shoot 12 times because you're never going to hit the net more than
Yeah.
once.
Game was a little bit more physical than a typical game. Forge had 4 yellows.
Okay.
Pacific
Not
versus
very disciplined.
Pacific versus Halifax, evenly battled match. With this win, it puts Halifax in 4th, 1 point over Vancouver, and Pacific ties the game on a penalty kill, but Halifax tied it up 8 minutes later.
Penalty kill or penalty kick?
Penalty kick. Sorry,
Okay.
I got hockey on my brain. And now the CPL, after being on a 12-day break, is now on an 11-day break.
I'm all for vacation, but usually when you go on a vacation, you're supposed to come back for a while before going on the next one.
The Northern Super League, yes. Sorry. July 4th, Montreal beats Vancouver 5-1.
Yeah, that hurts.
On paper, it looked like an evenish battle. If you looked at the game, you would have said otherwise.
Even-ish battle. It was 5-1.
Possession was 48-52. Badu had a hat trick, which helped her team win. Shots were 29 for Montreal to 9 for Vancouver.
Yeah, see what I mean? Not close.
That was the only stat that was really offlandish. Now, July 5th, Ottawa beats Calgary 3-1. 14 shots on goal for Ottawa to Calgary's 3. Possession was 53-47 for Ottawa. And Ottawa had an insane amount of corners for a total amount of 14 corners.
Jeez. I wonder if all those corners kind of happened in sort of like the same time frame of just sort of like corner out kind of thing.
So, yeah. Halifax and Toronto. The only goal that was scored was in the 12th minute. Toronto wins 1-0. Now, this was a very even battle. Toronto does need to watch their physicality a little bit due to the fact that they got 3 yellows. Now, the National Women's Soccer League is back. And we got some weird scores.
What do you mean weird?
So, Washington versus Houston. There's nothing there. The team that should have won. Washington beats Houston 2-1. KC beats Denver 3-0. With KC win, it creates a separation between the two teams in the standings due to the fact that they were one on top of each other. And Cooper had a 2-goal performance, which helped her team win. LA beats Orlando 2-0. July 4th, North Carolina beats Seattle 3-1. San Diego proves they're still top dog of this league and shows Gotham FC that, hey, y'all ain't scoring on us, and wins 2-0. Boston and the Bay tied at 2. Chicago beats Utah. Now, the reason why this is kind of surprising is kind of a David versus Goliath. Utah is second. Chicago is second
also
to last.
second.
They're the second versus second. Just Very different seconds.
So Chicago, after the break, came back and was like, you know what? We got some kind of post damage to do.
We might not win enough to get into the postseason or the top of the table, but
Yeah.
we'll show them the what's for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Portland versus Louisville. Portland wins 4-0. Portland was third going into this match. Now with Utah losing, they are now second by themselves at 27 points, 1 point behind San Diego. With this loss, Louisville in their last 6 games are 1-5.
Talk about a downfall.
Well, they're last in the league, so
Yeah, I mean, you can be last in the league and still be okay, but you can also be last
No.
in the league and just still getting worse.
Keep in mind, Chris, Louisville just lost 4-0. Their goal difference is -5.
that was before the game.
Oh, that was before the game, so that's
Yes.
-9.
They're
now.
-9.
All
now.
the standings right now, Jay, is standings before the games were played.
Still better than Chicago,
Hmm.
who even with the win,
They're-
they're still at -18.
Yeah.
Fair. Very fair. Now,
I still don't I know it's just the whole lose big and win barely, if ever. I mean, they haven't won a whole lot, but still, negative nearly 20 when everybody else is single digits in either direction is
A bit rough.
crazy.
with the soccer league slowly coming back to their normal schedules and a little bit more upbeat now, fighting for playoff positionings and everything, it'll be a little bit more meaningful games, you know?
Yeah. Usually when you get to this point of the season, I mean, every game always matters, but even more so
Yeah.
now.
Now that we have covered most of our sports,
We do have a new introduction to the North American episode, but not a new introduction to
The podcast.
the podcast.
exactly.
Jay made a very good point today before we turn the mic on, in that NASCAR is not an international sport. Even though it is motorsport, it is very much an American thing.
Yeah.
And thus, it makes its first appearance on the American episode.
So for NASCAR this weekend, yesterday, so on Sunday, July 5th, there was a race called Euro 400.
Not Euro 400?
EERO.
Euro. Okay.
Uh,
Like the Edmonton Elks.
yes, in Chicago, and see Briscoe in Toyota number 19 taking first place with 70 points. I think that's the highest first place points that I've seen this season.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
In second place, see Bell in Toyota number 20 taking second with 40 points. The Hamlin in Toyota number 11 taking third place at 45 points. W. Byron in Chevrolet number 24 taking fourth at 53 points. And A. Bowman in Chevrolet number 48 taking fifth at 35 points.
So we went 70 for first, 40 for second, 45 for third, and 53 for fourth.
Yeah.
I really need to sit down and figure out what these scorings.
The scorings are essentially they climbed places.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I suppose. That's still weird to me because, I'm still of the mind of F1.
Yeah.
Where you have, a whole qualifying day and
That decides your position.
yeah, and you're advantage or disadvantage, and then the points you get is based solely on how you finish.
Yeah.
Right. I'm used to that. Not I don't know what NASCAR's got going on. I don't it sounds like they don't really have a qualifying kind of thing. They just
No.
kind of place people on the grid and say, hey, if you're first and you keep first, you get points. Or
Yeah.
hey, if you're last and you climb a whole bunch, you get points.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like your mission for that race is purely dependent on where you randomly get placed. Is what it sounds like.
They might have a qualifying. I haven't done my proper research yet, but even with qualifying.
The scoring system seems a little bit weird, but I haven't really watched NASCAR ever, so that sounds like a weak project for me.
Yeah. But that's about it for NASCAR.
Yeah, we are almost an hour 40 into our recording. We're doing well. We're doing well. We got lots of information for you guys, and more information is going to keep coming out this week because the off season is unfortunately, I think is the right word, only starting.
Yeah, I think in the off seasons just our busier time, honestly, at this rate.
Yeah, we definitely miscalculated the hey, they're not playing, so it's going to be less busy.
Boy, were we wrong. Now, talking about the off season, there is one thing that me and you talked about when we first got this started today, and that was the East and the West in the NBA and the NHL has begun to kind of separate.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now, I'm going to talk about the NHL real quick. The West still has a couple of good teams. They have the Wild, the Stars, Avalanche. The Ducks are looking promising. But other than that, I do not see a team that has kind of the promise of guaranteed playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go to the East, and you have teams like Tampa Bay just made themselves kind of a playoff contender. Florida, unfortunately, have if they can make sure that the guys all behave.
Ooh,
But
the money lost in suspension for that team is going to be ridiculous.
Montreal Canadiens are a playoff contender. The Buffalo Sabres, if they play well, now they did lose some key players, but if they do play their cards right, it could be a potential. Boston always ends up being a potential cup contender. The Hurricanes, if they make no change to their roster and they keep the way they've been doing, they're going to be ecstatic. Columbus is looking somewhat scary. You have like a lot of teams right now adding a lot of players that is making that team scary.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the NBA, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So the NBA for years now has always been West heavy. And still kind of is. I mean, OKC is still the team to beat. Yeah. They still have SGA and a bunch of guys. The Spurs have shown that they're, very capable. I mean, they beat OKC in the Western Conference Final. Denver is going to be extra scary with Jokic coming back in the form that he's looking to come back in. But at the same time, you have teams like the Lakers who are going to be much weaker. The Rockets are looking really shaky. But then you go back and you got like the Timberwolves who are suddenly very scary. So the West is still strong. The East has always been looked at as the weaker of the two conferences for the last 2 decades. The 76ers are right there in the championship odds. The Raptors are a very real threat. The Knicks, who just won a championship, have managed to keep their core and re-sign most of their guys outside of Mitchell Robinson. The Cleveland Cavaliers are potentially the front runners to sign LeBron James, at which point they would have Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, and Evan Mobley. So that Cavs team, as disappointing as they were against the Knicks, are still a good team. Heck, the Washington Wizards of all teams might actually be in the playoffs this year because they have suddenly decided, hey, we're going to use all of our young players and picks to make a decent team. Now, I'm not saying the East is going to be stronger than the West. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat. The West is extremely top-heavy with a lot of talent. But the East has almost taken some of the talent away from the West and has evened out the conferences a bit more. Now, of course, the East still has some weak points. Detroit, while they were, the number 1 seed, they might lose Jalen Duren. He still hasn't signed with anybody. He's still a free agent.
And that's a big player for their team.
Yeah, that is a massive player. The Bucks sucked last year, especially since Giannis wasn't really playing. They're still going to be kind of like an iffy team, even with what they got back. The Heat are an experiment at best. Right? Like, yes, they were a playoff team, but it could just completely fall apart.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Hawks are kind of really middle of the pack. Like, they'll be a quote unquote playoff team, but they won't really make that.
A hit or miss.
Yeah, a hit or miss. So the conferences might balance out a little bit this coming season, which would be a first for the NBA in quite a while. which
Yeah.
I am really excited for.
That's so much info. Man.
We're nearing 2 hours, brother. Of
Miggy,
just trades, essentially.
Miggy out here being like, oh yeah, Chris, I love doing this. I love talking sports. I love just info dumping all this. And now it's just like, man, I've talked so much.
Yeah.
I am sports out. And quite frankly, I'm with you. Jay, you with me?
I'm with you, but why? I still have 2 more hours for recording.
Yeah, well, you know what?
I'll even out our 2 hours.
No, we're gonna cut the North American episode off here. We're gonna give you guys a good old goodbye. Good old we'll see you next time. And hopefully you stick around for the international episode, which is going to be posted the day after that this gets released. So until then, a goodbye.